Here's something, my favorite way to teach this is called the grandma paragraph. If you've ever been in any of my after-school classes, you might have seen the grandma paragraph before. But let's just start with a basic sentence. Grandma Smith reached over and grabbed her grandson's arm. He was nervous because the staircase was so steep, but she leaned against him and they began to climb. Anthony, how old's Grandma Smith? How old is old?
Like higher than 50.
Higher than 50?
Maybe 20.
She's a grandma.
Oh, I've been 70.
80? Okay, he says 80. Lucas, how old's grandma?
Like, I don't know, like 80 or like
90 probably. Around 80.
Okay.
I'm not feeling 70. I'm not feeling 70. I'm feeling more 80.
Aiden?
She's probably 74 young.
65.
65. Okay, Charlie, how old's the grandson? 6. Okay. Dean, what does the staircase look like to you?
Like a cliff.
Like a what?
It's like, it says it was so steep, so I imagine more of like a cliff staircase.
Okay. Do you guys visualize a staircase in your house? Do you visualize a staircase outside? Do you visualize a glass, modern, state-of-the-art staircase? No. Okay, could grandma be a young, glamorous 40-year-old? That's young, you guys. Could she be a, like, hunched over 95, 100-year-old? Okay, so we don't know. I need a volunteer, 2 volunteers, and you have to be willing to commit to acting full on, okay? And I need a boy and I need a girl.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's Anthony.
Okay, Nora, you're gonna be grandma. Anthony, you're the grandson. Come on up. Okay, I'm gonna read to you and then you're gonna act, so listen up. Grandma Smith lurched over and grabbed the pale skin of Randall's thin forearm with her leathery hand. Okay. Listen, the folds and creases beneath her skin coiled themselves out like electrical wiring. So she shows veins. I have lots of veins too. My skin's clear, okay? So Randall looked ahead toward the winding spiral staircase. You're going to fidget with a small hole in your shirt because he's nervous and he bit his lip. His mouth filled with the sweet coppery taste of blood as she leaned in close. Oh, this is really intense. She's going to breathe her hot breath on the back of his neck. Okay, I need a grandson that can have it. Okay, you could be the grandson. Okay, we're having an understudy. Okay, she leans in closely, breathing her hot breath on the damp back and neck. She smells, get ready, grandma smells of wet cigarettes and bacon. As you guys slowly climb the long, steep staircase, the only sound was grandma's labored breathing and the mournful creak of the wooden stairs. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, so what is a sense of taste in there, Lucas?
His mouth filled with the sweet coppery taste of blood.
Yeah, so if you guys ever taste blood in your mouth, it actually kind of has a metal taste to it, okay? Why does grandma have labored breathing? Sophia, what do you think?
Because she's old and walking up the steps and stuff is tiring.
Could there be another reason besides her being old? Olivia, what do you think?
Because she has to grab her grandson, and it's actually pretty tiring grabbing someone.
Okay, what else, Luke?
She smokes
Because
cigarettes.
she smokes cigarettes, okay? Cigarette smoking is bad for your health. All right, can you visualize this grandma and this grandson a lot better now? Can you visualize the staircase a lot better now? Okay, this is what you're trying to go for. Okay, so you have your pictures that you've chosen. I hope you have them out. I want you to take your picture and I want you to Okay, so in the old days, when you zoom in on a camera or binoculars, you have to like do stuff to zoom in. But you guys do zoom in with your hand, right? Zoom in. So go to your picture and try to zoom in. And I want you to pick one detail that you can zoom in on, okay? So find your picture, find your picture. Okay, so can you zoom in on that? Okay, awesome. Start with Sophia's and see if hers goes on here first, hopefully. Okay, Sophia, can you try to airplay? I hope. There goes. Okay, I want you guys to see if we can do this, how it looks when we zoom in on a moment. So Sophia, first tell me what this picture is about. Why did you choose this? Why is it significant?
This was the first time I met my sister, and so it was really special because I'd never had a sibling before.
Okay. So is there something special that you feel like you can zoom in and focus on, that you can just zoom in? Can you try just zooming in on something? Hopefully the zoom. Okay. Okay. So what are you zooming in on?
Just like I'd never really like seen a baby or like held a baby, so it was kind of like my first amazement at seeing her.
So what part of your like picture right here would you zoom in on if you had to describe something in writing maybe?
My eyes maybe.
Yeah. What would you say, do you know?
Um,
I'm putting you on the spot.
The look of amazement gave me a joy that I'd never felt before.
Did you hear that? Her look of amazement gave her joy that she never felt before. Okay, so by focusing in on her eyes, she was able to capture feelings, which is something that we're trying to do with our writing. Details. There are 5 main senses. There are more than 5 senses, okay? But there are 5 main ones, and I'm going to tell you one more, and then we can talk. But if you had to explain the 5 senses to a little kid, I'm going to show you a technique that you can show them, okay? So put your hands up in the air, one hand. Okay, how many fingers do you have? 5. How many senses are there? 5. Okay, so take your hand with your thumb up on top. Okay, your thumb is going to go to your ear because that's one of your senses, right? Now your eye, don't poke your eye out. Now your nose, don't stick it in your nostril. Now your mouth, and then this is touch. Okay, so hearing, sight, smell, taste, touch. Teach that to the person behind you as if they were a kindergartner, and then switch. What's another sense that's very important? I was directing them and telling her how to do things. It's the sense of motion or action, okay? So you really need to consider that, you know, like when you go to the beach sometimes, have you ever had the waves, like all day you're playing and then you go home and you feel like you're still moving? Yeah, that's actually a sense, or a roller coaster ride, like after you're like spinning kind of, that's a sense of motion, okay? There's other senses, but for this exercise, I want you to work on the 5, right? And motion, okay? All right, so today is called our gallery walk. Who has been to an art gallery before? Raise your hand. Okay, I love art galleries. It's one of my favorite things to do. Have you ever seen an art gallery when you go on a tour and they have a little QR code that you can scan and find out more information? Have you seen that before? Yeah, so that's why you all made your QR codes, because when we go around and look at our different stories, you are going to try to figure out what the main message and the most important significant thing that the author thinks is their most important reason why they wrote the memory. And you're going to try to figure it out. And then you get to scan the QR code and see if you were right. Yeah. Did you do the open mind already? Yeah. Okay, so what do you guys do after reading? The next step is to fill out an open mind prediction about what you think the memory is about, the significance, why it's important. found someone's bookmark.
This memory is important to me because it's my first time ever going ziplining and my first time ever going away from home. I want the readers to feel like they're in my boots and they can feel the experience I was feeling, all the emotions that were rushing through my head. I want them to feel the environment around me, the smells, the sounds, and even the tastes around me. I want them to feel how exhilarating it was to step off the zip line and rush down towards the mountain below me.
Class, we are going to do something where we can reflect on this experience. So if you guys can put your iPads down, face down. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to be giving you a card, and these all, remember at the beginning of the unit, we talked about good reading and how it's good for you. Do you guys remember anything about what good reading does for you? Yeah, good reading is good writing. What about emotionally? Do you remember anything about the social emotional learning, Nora?
You become more empathetic.
Yeah, you become more empathetic, right? So we develop our social skills, we develop our relationship skills. We also learn about ourselves, self-awareness, okay? So these cards are different cards that relate to that. When I tell you to do so, we're going to kind of form a circle the best we can. I think we'll use these 4 tables as our center, so we'll kind of, it's going to be more of a square. We're going to kind of line up, so like where Lucas is, for example, then we'll go behind here, behind here, behind here. Sayla and Dean are going to be a part of the circle. You guys see where it's going to be behind Sophia? Can we do that around these 4? Okay, and then I'm going to pass out the cards. Hold on, not yet. You're excited. Okay, so we'll make that sort of circle or a blob, and then I'm going to pass out these cards. You'll pass them down, and then I'll call on one of you, and you will ask the question, and if you feel like you can answer it, do so. But if you can't answer it, like you're like, oh, I don't know what to say about that, then you will be able to call on a classmate by a raised hand, and then your classmate will be able to answer it. Okay? Okay, everybody read their card, his or her card. Think, am I going to answer this, or am I going to call on a raised hand? Okay, somebody raise their hand that would like to go first. Okay, Lola.
Okay, I'd like to say the question.
Say it loud, loud, loud.
What makes you willing, even energized to work hard on your writing? Well, just like how I was really happy in the moment and how I remember it so much. That just makes me make me work hard on it because it just made me so happy.
Okay, so it was a pleasant memory. All right, somebody raised their hand, and Lola will call on you to go next.
Hannah.
What were some decisions you had to make during the writing process? I had to make what words to choose and different author's craft and what to put in my writing.
You can call on someone.
How do you know if you conveyed your message well? I kind of looked at my post-it notes, the feedback from others.
Can you say that louder? Can you read it loud? I really couldn't hear you. Say it all. That was a great answer. I want to hear it.
How do you know if you conveyed your message well? And I did because of the feedback of others.
So what was some of the feedback that you got that made you know that you conveyed your message well? Do you remember what someone said?
Well, probably sensory detail and snapshots.
Anna hasn't spoken. All right, Luke.
How did you decide if your writing went well or didn't go well?
Well, the post notes that I got for the golden line, they weren't the same line, but they both said the same message, that it was suspenseful, which is what I wanted, so I think that it went well.
Okay, alright. My question was, talk about how you surprised yourself with your writing ability. What surprised you? What were you surprised? Or why were you surprised? Something that surprised me was how I could use descriptive language good in my essay, or not essay, story. And I was surprised because, well, yeah, I just didn't think that I could do good description words. phrase that.
Was there a part of your story that you thought was very descriptive? A certain section?
Yeah, so when we were hiking up to the zip line in my story, I talked about like flowers or I talked about like the scenery and stuff like that, and there's a lot of scripted words in that.
I really like how Mrs. Herkoff used the cognitive strategies because it kind of like helped us gain more knowledge on how to be more descriptive when writing a story. Like, particularly in my opinion, I really liked how she introduced us to visualizing, like trying to put an image into the story, that, you know, actually literally putting an image into the story. Like, you could visualize in your head and put like what you know, plus you can put your own twist or your own perspective on it, and you could develop what happened before you read the story. So foreshadowing in a different way.
Yeah, I also like the cognitive strategy of visualizing, but I thought that the dialogue and the thought shots part I think that was really important for my story, because a lot of it is me talking with my friends and like just having fun, and like in my inner thoughts that helped, and how to like write dialogue that also really helped. There's a lot of dialogues in my story.
Can you say more about the thought shots?
Well, I liked it because like it gave the reader like a thought, like a vision into my own head and like what I was thinking, because my mind was like racing at the time. I was thinking a lot of stuff. So yeah.
I really enjoyed writing my piece because I felt like it gave the reader an inside view or on my perspective of the memory, and that I could write and express how I felt during it. But I could not do that in a normal conversation. I could only do that in a form of writing.
– Lisa, so thank you so much for letting me come and observe your class. It has been so amazing. You're such an accomplished teacher, and your kids were just so engaged and just all in from day one. And then here we have all their fantastic writing, and it's all so meaningful. And I know you know that in the Common Core standards, there's this premium placed on argument writing. So a lot of teachers are very hesitant to spend much time, if any, on narrative writing. So I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think the value of narrative writing is, and why were you willing to sort of slow down and go so deep with this particular lesson?
Yeah, for starting the year for narrative writing, I just think it's a really good way to lay the foundation and the groundwork for the rest of the year for writing. The whole process is something that the kids like writing. It's something that they know it's comfortable and they enjoy it. So I figure that if we start off with something that they enjoy, I can take them through the writing process. We can learn about peer feedback. We can learn about how to use mini lessons to improve our writing. Also, something like the memory snapshot, I get to see into my students' lives, and I get to know them right from the start, and they also get to know each other, so it helps like form our classroom community. And also I chose to do this emphasis on social emotional learning, because good reading, good writing, this is like helps us to learn about ourselves, and they can be more empathetic with each other and see from a different perspective.